We all have that one thing or more that we wish we could change about ourselves. But what if your biggest flaw was actually your greatest feature? That's what today's episode is all about.
Life is beautiful.
The Theo Bros Podcast.
Yo, how we doing? I am Mike Theo. I am Nick Theo. And you are listening to the Theo Bros Podcast, where you can count on daily wisdom to get your mind right. So, Mike, a long time ago in Japan, a powerful ruler broke his favorite T-ball. He sent it to China to get fixed, but when it came back, it was stapled together with metal. It worked, but it looked like absolute shit. So this guy's like, all right, I'm going to send it to a local Japanese craftsman over here and try this again. So he does it, and this time, instead of hiding the cracks, the Japanese craftsman filled them in with gold. And when it came back, it looked even better than before when it was broke. That's how kintsugi was born, which is the art of fixing broken things with gold. It's part of a larger Japanese aesthetic called wabi-sabi, which finds beauty in imperfection, impermanence, and incompleteness. It's basically...
Wabi-sabi sounds so familiar. Isn't that like the green thing that you get from sushi?
Wasabi?
Wabi-sabi.
Wabi-sabi. It's a cool word, and it means to find beauty in imperfection, impermanence, and incompleteness, which makes a lot of sense for what is being done here with this gold.
Yeah.
And basically, it's just a reminder that the cracks in your life don't make you less. They can make you more beautiful if you craft them that way. What does this story mean to you?
The first thing that I think of is the struggles that we went through when we first quit our jobs and started working together. And realizing that a lot of the frustration came from the fact that you had dyslexia. So when we first started working together, I would get so frustrated. I would see you misspelling words on a whiteboard that were like so simple for me. Like, I don't know. I don't really have an example. Like usual. You would spell the word usual on the board and you would spell it wrong. And my judgmental 18-year-old mind at the time would get so frustrated, and I'd literally think to myself, I know it's horrible to say, but I think to myself, like, why did I partner with this kid? Like, I don't understand. Like, this is going to be my partner? Like, he can't even spell the word usual. And I didn't realize at the time, and neither did you. You spent your whole life with dyslexia. And it wasn't until I got so frustrated over and over again as we were working together, I'm like, bro, I think like there's something wrong with you. That's what I told you. I was like, I don't understand, because I think like in a completely different way than you. I get all these things done and I feel like you're always like lagging in some way or doing something wrong. And you went and saw a psychologist or a psychiatrist, whatever diagnosis, and found out that you had dyslexia and ADHD. But dyslexia was the one that was really playing the biggest role in these frustrations. And we went on to realize that your dyslexia, yes, it had its weaknesses where sometimes you struggle with spelling and sometimes you're not as detail oriented as me, but at the same time there were so many strengths that came with that. And the moment you found that out and we realized that you had these strengths and we could double down on those as opposed to only focusing on these weaknesses, we came together in such a beautiful way, like the gold filling in the cracks, like this thing. And we created this blend where it was just two of our strengths coming together, where your strengths complemented my weaknesses, which was really people and empathy and leadership. And my strengths, which was detail-oriented, complemented yours, which was, focused on the bigger picture at all times. Uh-huh.
And so that was a big learning for me. And I had to get vulnerable there and show how much of an a-hole I was at the time, but I was young and stupid and ignorant. But we learned a lot from that.
It did lead to something really special, though, because getting myself checked out much later in life and getting that diagnosis, if you want to call it that, of this title of dyslexia made me actually feel less broken than before. I got that title told to me, because before that I literally just felt like I was up, like my brain just was not good. But then I realized, okay, this is a part of who I am, and then it forced me to do some digging into it, and I found this book called The Dyslexic Advantage, and it talked about all these great entrepreneurs and artists that had the same thing as me, dyslexia, and how they were actually able to use it to their advantage. And some of the examples of that is like, okay, you said struggle with reading and writing. What that made me do was see the world visually and in these big picture type things where I can apply more creativity to something and see things outside of the box where someone who is more detail oriented can't see it, like because they're so in the weeds.
The way that plays out, to give an example, to bring it to life, is when we're creating our quarterly goals, I will like think of every little goal that needs to be hit, every key metric, every tiny little process that we need to develop. And you'll take those and you'll say, okay, but like, what are the three buckets that we can bucket these in?
Yeah,
and you help to simplify complex thinking into a big picture way. And when you combine those two, it's a beautiful thing.
Exactly.
So that was one. Whereas before, I felt like you didn't understand. No, like we have to hit all these goals. Like, you don't get it. And once I surrendered to the fact, no, you actually have this beautiful strength where you can bucket things in a way. And we use that on The Amazing Race.
Exactly.
We use it constantly.
Yeah, chunking on The Amazing Race. Yeah. And then another advantage from the dyslexia and growing up the way I did in school was that it actually forced me to work harder than everyone else around me because I needed to keep up.
Yeah.
So in a sense, it instilled in me this sense of like discipline and showing up and doing the little things every single day because I had this.
That's the gold in the cracks.
And that's the gold in the cracks.
So some other examples of gold in the cracks that I really love. Leonardo da Vinci had ADHD. Now, he obviously wasn't diagnosed because that didn't exist at the time, but psychologists look back and they basically have made this very what's the word I'm looking for? They know he had ADHD. They know he had ADHD. Okay.
Yeah, the dude was all over the place.
He was all over the place. But that is what made him the Renaissance man. Because he was all over the place, he studied all these different disciplines. He was into music, he was into art, he was into architecture, he was into sculpture, he was into painting, biology. So, like he because he was such a curious mind and bouncing from all these ideas, that ADHD became his superpower. And it's why he is the ultimate Renaissance man, because he brought all of these ideas together in these beautiful, magical ways.
Yeah.
And today, the Renaissance man is this idea of someone who combines all of these disciplines together into magic. Another awesome example is Arnold. Oh, man, I love this one. So Arnold Schwarzenegger was set up to be the worst actor of all time, okay? Every director told him his accent was too thick, his body was too big, and his name was too long. When you think of a good actor, what do you think? Tom Cruise, right? Matt Damon. Super easy names. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, you would never think that this guy is going to become this famous actor, this big, heavy accent, long name dude. So what does he do? He turns his cracks into gold. He uses all of those things to his advantage. He finds a role where, if he actually says, if they didn't have Arnold, they'd have to build one for this role. His accent became the reason he was so iconic, okay? The body that he had made him unforgettable. And the name made him stand out in a sea of these short names. So he turned all of these things that were his quote-unquote disadvantages into his greatest advantage.
I love that. That's a fantastic story. I think we're drilling down this point. Basically, turn your disadvantages into advantages and fill in the cracks with gold. And if you've never seen these pieces of art that are done in Japan, look it up and you'll actually see that they really do become more beautiful when you fill them with gold.
Yeah.
And so once again, they're called kintsugi, right?
Yeah.
And that's, if you just Google that, you'll see some images of it. I highly recommend it to give you that reminder, that visual reminder that your scars, your cracks, all the mistakes They're all a part of making you the beautiful human that you are.
Yeah. So the call to action for today is to turn one of your weaknesses into a strength. Excuse me. Pick a personality trait you wish you can change about yourself. Not something physical, because that's not important. Pick a personality trait, something about yourself that you wish you could change about yourself. And then ask yourself, how could this weakness actually be a strength in disguise? So I asked myself this question because I didn't want to be a hypocrite. And I realized the personality trait that I wish I could change about myself was this obsessive personality trait that I have. Like when I'm constantly obsessing over things and I need things to be completed, and it's like borderline OCD in a way. How is that weakness a strength in disguise? So yes, it sometimes gives me anxiety when things are left undone, but I get shit done. I get shit done.
I gotta say, you do get shit done, Mike.
And so that is the thing that I should double down on, the fact that I get shit done. Like I can't necessarily change my personality, but I can focus on the beautiful parts of it. I can focus on the gold in the cracks.
And I think you could take that a step further and make the getting things done about something bigger than yourself to really tell an even better story, which is you get shit done that helps people impact their lives in a positive way.
Yeah.
You really are, by getting shit done, by recording 8 episodes today, right? You're getting shit done that's actually going out in the world and improving the quality of people's lives.
Yeah. I think another example for people, just to get your wheels turning as you think about this for yourself, is people who are really shy or introverted, which is another one of my tendencies at times, believe it or not. Even though I'm doing this podcast, I can be very introverted. Introverted people also tend to be the best listeners. So yes, you're shy sometimes. Yes, you can be introverted, but you probably have the superior listening skill to the extroverts. So don't look at the extroverts and think, oh, you're broken because you're not this outgoing, loud personality. No, you have your own beautiful side. That's just another example.
All right, love it. Thanks for hanging out with us. We love you. Peace. Thank you so much for listening all the way to the end.
If you're new here, we share daily mindset motivation in 10 minutes or less.
So if that's your vibe, hit subscribe or check out another episode right here.